Alright guys, welcome back. So Big Bear. So last time we talked about this one around $7 level. So let's have a look at and update this name. What's going on with this name and what levels I am watching for this name and what's going on in general. So somewhere around here, I think we were talking about this level where they didn't have much of contracts released. Highest strike was $6 for that particular week that is expiring February 21st. Now they have a lot more strikes, a lot more people buying higher strikes now. So this is when I covered it, when implied volatility apparently was even lower, but now IV has gone up crazy. So before we jump into the option shenanigans, well, these are the levels. So pre-market high of $8.18 on Thursday. This is the level I was watching where it looks like it did act as a support on a lower time frame, which is 10 minutes that I'm watching. And another thing is for those people, I mean, you guys need to quit. Again, this is just the recommendation. It's not like you can trade however you want, but in general, like a lot of new traders or beginners or people who just are not very active in the market, they may not pay attention as much. But usually, if you see any stock that it hasn't tested round number or is it about to test for the first time, that's not the price to set it as a target, because there could be a lot of limit orders sitting at that level. I'm talking about, in this particular case, $10, right? So anybody who bought this at 6, 7 or 4, 5 or 8, they had, okay, I'm gonna sell it at 10, or maybe even had a $10 limit order. Well, guess what? Why wouldn't anybody, I mean, like experienced traders like me, why wouldn't I sell it? I usually sell early. I don't care about the raw numbers. Why wouldn't I sell it early knowing that there's a supply sitting right there? See, same thing with any stock that is trying to approach $1,000 round number, $100, 200, whatever. If it's trying to test that level for the first time, you can expect that first time to be a resistance and reject. Mostly, okay? The probability of that happening is very high. Sometimes it just goes through this and then flushes down, but this is just something that I wanted to mention. So yes, I'm watching 10 as a resistance. It's actually, let's go back a little bit further. So if you are watching it for the first time, last time I was talking about these levels. $10.14 I was watching, and let's go back to this 2022. These are the levels where it traded last time. So 10.14 was a resistance, where I'm seeing a little bit of resistance at 11 as well. So it looks like every dollar has a bit of a resistance, but it depends how strong momentum is going to be. But 10, 14, 11, a little bit at 12, and then above 13, I was saying that, yeah, it can definitely push towards 15. All-time high print, $16.12. So these are resistance levels, meaning these are the levels I'm watching to the upside. So meaning if I'm watching 7 as a resistance, well, this is something I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to reject at least for the first time it's trying to test that level, because I mean, it's not always you want to expect stock straight up fly through those levels. I mean, there are times I have seen them happen, but usually that's not the case. So it can definitely chop around here and then go push above 10, or it can just sit here as long as it holds $8.18 and maybe trap a little bit more shorts, just like it has trapped last time on Thursday, where it had breakout and then shorts were a little bit confident, where volume was a little bit lower that particular day, and then boom, squeeze again. And I can show you on a data as well. So this is Big Bear's daily long short volume. Again, this is not accurate data, this is not a complete data, but I'm using whatever I have here. So you can see short volume was low, and then because it was squeezing previous shorts right here, and then 42% of the volume on 6th of February was short, and then all of a sudden Friday squeeze 30%. I mean, short appetite went down, of course people got squeezed. So if I'm gonna see following next 2-3 days people get aggressive, but I mean the short sellers get aggressive, but at the same time stock doesn't fall and just holds these levels, it can take those people for a ride. And above $10, I mean that can take this stock above $10. So that's your resistance right now. But so far today's price action, just like I mentioned, so if you have a $10 strike price target and you set a limit order and you went to work, I mean, well, guess what? Market makers see it, all traders know it, and they can run it. Same thing when you are wanting to buy a stock at a certain round number. Let's say you set a $5 target, it will go hit $5.15, $5.20, and it will just bounce off of that level, or maybe even $5.05, but it will never hit that $5 and just reverse right there. Same thing. So far, flush in the morning, 15% flush, and now this recovery. You can see by the volume as well. Like first, I'm looking at an hourly chart. First 2 hours, stock traded 100 million, and the following next 3 hours, I mean, of course, it's an afternoon. We have to see what's going to happen after market. Closer to the closing hours, but volume is low. So this is what happens when shorts get confident and then all of a sudden volume disappears. They get squeezed like this. So this stock 5% so far and it's at 9, but I'm watching this name still to squeeze as long as it holds these levels. At the same time, option activity. I was talking about the strikes, and last time, if you watched the last video, I'm sure you saw these implied volatility being very, very low. I mean, compared to this right now, what you're seeing, 200%, 220%. It was 130. Stock was trading at 7, but now, since volume was consistent for 2 days, there you go. Options are crazy expensive now. That's why they release higher strikes, and way too far outside of the money contracts are trading pretty expensive, like $18 strike price for literally expiring next week. And you have to remember, next week Monday is a President's Day, I believe. It's a day off. Market is closed, and it's trading at 25 cents. That is insane. That's crazy. That got expensive very quick. So, and by looking at the orders, we still have half a day ahead. I'm just filming this video in the middle of the market hours. So far, 183,000 calls traded, 54,000 puts traded. Puts are being sold. 46% of the volume was sold. And calls, as most of the calls are being called, bought. And looks like somebody purchased, actually somebody sold a $2 put for January 2027, which is 2 years ahead. And they collected 45 cents premium, and they sold thousands of it. If they sold, let's say 10,000 contracts, looks like it, somewhere around that number, that means this guy collected $450,000 by putting $2 million collateral, saying that, okay, take my $2 million right now, but give me $450,000. And the only way this guy is going to lose money is come that date. If stock goes below $1.50, $1.55, he will break even at $1.55. If it goes lower, then yeah, he'll lose money. But this is somebody who's taking advantage of the IV. They might not hold it up until this expiration, but this is the largest order that came in so far today. But I don't want to pay attention too much to it. But IV got expensive. That's my point. I trade options, and that's why you're seeing puts being sold and calls being purchased. Are there some aggressive calls being purchased? Not really, but I'm seeing some calls. April $8 call, next year January $10 call. That is interesting. Some decent volume on those. $8 calls, $8 calls, June $15 call. Okay, that's interesting. That could be that's a smaller size, but I'm not seeing people come in pretty much attack certain strikes. But so far, option market bullish, but I'm not seeing large bullish flows yet. Maybe there are some from previous days that I did not watch, but so far price action, yeah, it could be trying to trap more shorts to fuel itself to the upside. This is just purely momentum trading, okay? I don't think there was any news. I'm not following much of a news. I'm sure they're signing some contracts, a new CEO and all that stuff. Capitalization of this stock is very small, so it can move. That's why I was speculating last time when I made a video saying that if this stock goes to $3.5 billion valuation, I mean, it's going to be around $15 stock. So far, yeah, it's pretty much, we have been talking about this from 4s, 5s, and of course, they dilute a lot too, so you have to keep an eye on SEC filings every single morning, because if you don't understand what's going on with the stock, you have to go to SEC and quickly take a look what's going on, what they have done, because they might take advantage of this situation and dump some shares. So that's something always on the table. So I'm not seeing any filings so far. Looks like the latest was on February 5th. Entered into a warrant exercise agreement with the existing accredited investor to exercise in full outstanding common stock. So see, somebody exercised their warrants, 5.8 million shares, or warrant to purchase up to 5.8 million shares. Okay, they could have bought that warrant very cheap, and now the new warrant. You gotta read this one, okay? So you gotta keep an eye on filings, especially with small caps, because they will do a lot of these shenanigans, and you have to understand if it's dilutive or not, okay? But I'm not gonna dive into this one. Stock momentum still to the upside, but you have to be careful when this stock flushes certain support resistance levels. When momentum is to the upside, I watch 5-day moving average, and anytime stock goes below 5-day moving average, I consider it reversal. I consider it end of the trend at the short term until it reclaims that above that level. So far, that 5-day moving average for Big Bear around like $7.25. So that's what I'm watching for this name. Volume is still there. Momentum is still to the upside. Thanks for watching. See you in the next update. These videos purely for entertainment and educational purposes only. It's not a buy or sell recommendation. Take care. Peace.